Part 4, and I'm making good on my promise from the last episode to make this place a bit more homely because I have bought a sofa. So let's get it unboxed, put it in position and see what it all looks like. There we go, we are done, and I'm pretty happy with that. It's pretty much the perfect size for the wall. It's pretty much flush on that side. On this side I've got just enough room for a little shelf for drinks or something, plus you've got the desk there, so all drinks can go there. I was a little bit worried it'd be too deep to fit in with the desk, but it is pretty much bang on. That is perfect. And just to give it a trial one with the footrest in place. Yeah, I could get used to that. 75-inch screen with a big sofa, that is living the dream. So in terms of how I've rearranged, I did want to get the pull-up frame over in the corner by the bed, blocking off the other side, because let's be realistic, who's ever going to go down the other side of the bed? But instead I've got it in the living room. It is a massive, ugly thing, unfortunately. There's not a whole lot I could do with it. Ideally I'd like to mount a wall-mounted pull-up frame, but I'd just definitely be ripping the wall down, so it's kind of there and in the way for now. The good thing is I can tuck a lot of my weight plates and barbell underneath the sofa to kind of get them out of the way and just increase that floor space a little bit more. So it's not the worst solution in the world. I'm happy with that. Next job is one I've been waiting to do for ages, saving up for this, is the slat panels that are going to go behind the TV. So the 5 panels I've got will do the whole wall, and that cost me 450 quid in total, which not as bad as I thought it would be, to be honest. But I'm going to have to try very hard not to make an arse of this. Because usually with any DIY project I do, I start off planning to do it perfect and then just get lazy. So I'm going to have to do cuts around the 2 speaker brackets and around the socket as well. So it's going to take some accurate measuring, but hopefully we get it right. One down, and it looks incredible already. And now it's onto the easier bits. Well, it's very rare that a DIY project goes 100% according to plan without any hitches, but this one pretty much has, especially not one of mine anyway, but there we go. I think that looks absolutely fantastic, and I made no mistakes really. I mean, a couple of little imperfections here and there, but by and large it looks pretty brilliant. Only thing that's slightly annoying is that the panels come too far forward down around that socket, so I can't actually get any plugs in there at the moment, but I'm sure I'll find a way around that, either just sand down the panels at the bottom or come up with something else, but there we go. So for cable management, obviously I've still got the panel wall that now fits in perfectly with the slat wall, so the cables run up that, go into that speaker, and then across the top I've got the Ethernet and the other speaker. That one goes in there, and then for the rest of the Ethernet I've just sort of tidied that up. There is quite a lot of messy slack down there, but I'll sort of tie that up in a circle, make it look a bit nicer. As for the TV cables, the original plan was to kind of cover them up using a black felt, but you can barely see the TV cable that's there anyway, so I don't think I'll bother. Unfortunately for the HDMI cable, that one is too short, so I'm just going to have to buy a longer one, but not the end of the world. The only subtle improvements I'm thinking of making is maybe just paint that wall black just where you can see the wall behind it, but again, very nitpicky. And again, up the top where you can just see the white paint through the back wall. Might paint that black as well, just to kind of neaten it up, but again, very nitpicky, not essential. By and large though, I think that's the best project I've done to date. Only additions I want to make are a bit of lighting and a bit of greenery, so I think I want to get 2 big potted plants in each corner, and then have sort of strip lights coming up. Maybe 2 or 3, one on each side, and then maybe one in the middle, not sure. But yeah, I'm very happy with that. The next big question to ask is having the panelling there and the wallpaper Slat effect, is that too much? And I'm quite tempted to say no. I really thought it would be, but I think it kind of works. The 3 options I've got for that space though are: option 1, leave it exactly as it is for now with the wallpaper Slat effect there. Option 2 is to replace the wallpaper with the actual proper panels. And because I took my time on those panels and didn't really make any mistakes, I've got pretty much a whole panel left over. So I could do that whole archway with proper panels. The advantage of that is that I'd be able to more effectively manage that cable at the top. At the moment it's quite visible, but having the panels there, as they are on that wall, I can run the cable over the top, and then I'd be able to run it down the slats down there as well. So that'd be quite handy. Option 3 is just to remove the wallpaper entirely and just paint that middle section, the doorway and arch, just magnolia. And that kind of would become just a kind of nothing interesting happens here divider between the 2 feature walls. I'm going to leave it as it is for now and then sit on that decision. I'm kind of leaning towards option 2, doing it with the proper panels, but I'm not decided yet, so I'll give it some time and think about it. Next up is something I've been putting off for about 9 months and I'm absolutely terrified about. Last year I uploaded a video called Watercooling an RTX 4080 Gone Wrong, and the gone wrong in that video was a tiny little leak while I was testing to see if the loop and the flow would work in. And that was all while the electrics were off, so it was pretty much fine. There was no major damage during that. What did cause major damage was what happened afterwards, which is basically the whole system just exploded. Basically, unbeknownst to me, the software I had wasn't in control of the fan speed, so they weren't speeding up as they got hotter. And the result of that, I think I was playing Skyrim on the ultra-wide, 1440p at 240Hz, and I think I was playing it for about an hour, and basically the heat, I think it reached about 80, 90 degrees they're calling. And where I had the soft compressible tubing, as this one is, going into the graphics card, it basically just became way too hot, and then I think the material expanded, it came loose. And it just fired molten coolant all over the system. It caused a short immediately and the whole system shut off, and I got quite badly burnt trying to block it with my hand. It did not go well at all. Luckily the only component that was actually destroyed during that was the motherboard, which of all the components to go is relatively cheap, so the graphics card survived and it's fine. I've since solved the software issue and I've replaced some of the tubing. Instead of this soft compressible one, I've got hardline acrylic tubing, which is bent into shape using a heat gun. But since that explosion, I've just been way too scared to actually replace it all now. But I'm going to go for it today, so need to remove the card, disassemble it entirely and replace it with this water block, which I have here. And I've since painted that white and I think that'll go really well with the system, but yeah, I'm really worried about how this is going to go, but let's do it. Well, this is the part I hate the most, the leak test. This is the anxiety fueled one. So obviously got the new kind of pipe leading into the graphics card going into the CPU, and then CPU going into the radiator. That pipe I had before, so no need to test that. Same with that one, but these two do need testing, and I mean, I'm nervous as hell, but I'm going to flip it on. Hopefully it works. Right. Oh god, my heart is going. I can't feel any liquid that's come out. So hopefully that was a success. I'm not sure. Let's give it a proper review. Right, I've investigated everything, cannot find any sign of a leak at all, but I think you're meant to leave it running for about 4 hours just to be really sure. But then again, last time I did this, the leak test was perfectly fine, and then it only exploded after a bit of high intensity gaming when everything got a bit too hot. So I'll leave it for now, have some lunch, and then try and turn it on a little bit later. Okay, I'm going to declare that the leak test is a success. Now it's time for the on test, which again, my heart is going, and I'm very worried about this, but my PC's got a weird problem which will take a second, but let's give it a go. Oh, I didn't press the button. I was so panicked for a second, I forgot to press the on button. Oh god, right, here we go. It is booting, okay. That is a big success. Just need to check that it goes through to the monitor. Fingers crossed. Oh god, my heart is going so much. I genuinely never get worried about anything, but this is one of the few things. Is thinking about it. There we go, it has booted. Right, that's 2 out of 3 tests passed for this now. We've done the leak test, we've done the on test, and now it is the heat test. So I'm going to leave it running just in normal operation, just to be very sure. But I'm going to do some high intensity gameplay a little bit later on, just to make sure that it can survive being hot and cooled down correctly. But yeah, 2 out of 3, there we go. Got to say as well, just close the blinds to show this off properly, but the RGB on that looks absolutely incredible. So I've got all 3 fans RGB, third one's a little bit broken, I have no idea why. And the pump reservoir, GPU, RAM, and the CPU block as well. It just looks stunning. I mean, with the graphics card water block in particular, now I've kind of got the left and right hand side of the PC all glowing up nicely. Yeah, it looks incredible. So I'm using kind of Signal RGB to go along with that, and it all looks pretty good so far. On the cooling tab, I've got both my fan and the reservoir showing up this time, which it didn't before, which is what caused the explosion. So it's looking good. So it's a day later, I've been playing Skyrim for about 90 minutes now in 4K 120, so really pushing the graphics card to its limits, especially with all the mods I've got installed. And it is absolutely fine. Looking at the fan software as well, the software is in full control of the fans and the pump, so it's speeding up as it's getting hotter, exactly as it should. And if we investigate the PC, it looks and feels completely fine. I remember the last time I did this when the software wasn't in control of the fans, and just holding my hand up to anywhere where the liquid was, it felt boiling hot, and it was probably about 90 degrees. But according to the software, it's only about 40, and that's what it feels like at the moment. So I think this is project success, finally. And back on the decorations, the touch-ups are now complete. Number 1, the cable behind the router is now tidied up nicely. Number 2, I've trimmed back the panels around that plug socket so we can actually get some plugs in there now. 3, I've bought a longer HDMI cable, and you can honestly barely notice the cables that are there. You can just about see the 2 that are there, HDMI on the left and then power on the right. As well as that, they are blocked off nearly by the subwoofer as well. I'm quite tempted to move the subwoofer over just a little bit more so it does fully block them off, but there is a mess of cables behind that plant, so I think the solution to that is just to buy a taller and bigger plant pot, just so it fully blocks out all the cables. And speaking of the plants, they are rather lovely. Got a palm tree on the right and whatever that is on the left. Both fake plants because who can be bothered to water anything these days? And to be honest, I think those are the best decorations I could have bought for that wall. There is something just about the kind of green against the natural wood. It just creates such a natural vibe. I don't know what it is, but it looks really nice. I'm very tempted to add vines up the top as well coming down. I think I'm going to have it like a sort of messier situation. The vines I've got behind the bed are kind of very structured and ordered. I think having a messy kind of overgrown vibe would suit that wall really well. And that'll about do it for this episode. I do still intend on adding some lights, rear lights for the TV and some strip lights going up, but I think that will do for this one. So thank you very much for watching, leave a like, subscribe if you enjoyed, and I will see you all for the next one. Peace.